All right, we're here in Victoria, heading to a secret location, being escorted to a secret location to check out some awesome chondros. I'm here with my mate Dingo and Kirst, all the way from South Africa. Hope you guys enjoy today's show. Welcome to CrittaCam. I'm here with James from Chondro Morphs, and I tell you what, today we're going to see some pretty cool animals. Thanks, James, for having us.
Anytime, mate.
Obviously, we're down here in beautiful Victoria for the VHS Expo. It's been absolutely a smashing expo.
It has been a smashing expo, mate. We nearly had 5,000 people through the door. Absolute success.
I don't want to brag, but I'm going to say we've probably seen a few more than 5,000 through the door.
Yeah, probably did, mate.
It was pretty crowded there for a very long time. Now, I've had a quick little squizzy around at your setup here, and I've been very fortunate to travel the US, and I've seen a few chondro sort of collections, and I can tell you now, what you got here is going to give these guys a run for their money.
Thanks, mate.
I can tell you that. And I mean, let's start off with some of the basics now. Chondros are probably a little bit notorious in Australia to be a little bit difficult to keep and maintain, and I've been one of those guys personally that's had some few issues doing this. So let's talk a bit about just a straightforward management and how you got these animals set up.
Yep. Look, I believe in a simple clinical method, easy to clean, easy to maintain, removable perches, big water bowls, paper substrate. It's a great way of keeping them humid when we want, but allowing them to dry out too. Regular cleaning. Look, they've got a much maligned reputation. They're not that hard to look after as long as you do it the right way. Helps, in my opinion, to have a really good mentor and just, you know,
go Birchie, go.
Strive.
Go Birchie, go.
And of course, we
Go Birchie, go.
You know.
And obviously, as a keeper, strive to provide better care for your animals. So it all comes down to husbandry essentially.
So one of the cool things that I've noticed here is you're using heat panels for heating all these animals. So what's the temperature that you're sort of trying to maintain in this area where they're perching?
Under that warm side, we're sort of high 29s, 28, 29, 30. It does sort of vary a bit with the ambient temperatures in the room. Running a pulse proportionate thermostat, so it allows for that a bit of temperature variability, and then we're cooling off to about 25, 26 on the cool side.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. So there's a bit of variability because I know that a lot of people particularly won't use the pulse proportionals.
Yep.
Because of that, you know, movement in the temperature zones. They like to keep consistent heats, and you see a lot of light globes being used. And you're saying that this is better using the bigger water bowls, trying to maintain that humidity a little bit more efficiently.
In my opinion, I believe so, yes.
Well, your opinion's pretty good because I can tell you it's working.
Thank you.
It's working, you know,
like been doing it for quite a while now. And,
it's not an overnight success, is it?
No, it isn't. And you know, constantly striving to better myself and also better the conditions for animals, and produce animals that are great in a captive environment for future keepers.
Yeah, so one of the other cool things I noticed is you've actually got ventilation down low, and you've got ventilation up high.
Correct.
So I always talk about ventilation with that cross-flow ventilation, and here we've got a perfect example.
Yep.
So as the temperature rises and the heat rises, the air goes out.
Stale hot air goes out.
Pulls cool air through.
Correct.
I mean, that's pretty awesome, man. That's really excellent. Now, so what are the cool things that we're going to, what are the bad things we're going to see? We usually see kinkages sort of around the base of the tails.
Yeah, down around the cloaca. Prolapse issues that result from that kinking, or dry conditions, stuck sheds. Probably the most fatal though would be respiratory infections. So keeping them too wet, too hot, creating a pathogen-rich environment, and that becomes a problem.
Yeah, super problem.
Yep.
Now you've got some babies here that you're raising out.
Correct. Can
we have a quick look of how you set up the babies? So that's a little bit different to how you're setting up the adults.
Correct, yeah. So they require a lot more humidity and a lot more care. Because they are more humid, they require more cleaning. And being younger animals, they tend to defecate a lot more regularly. So just quite simple setup. Removable perches, glass water bowl, paper towel as a substrate. And as you mentioned before, so I've got cool air coming in down low, and then the hot air coming out the back up high.
And so for heating the babies here, you're just basically using a heat cord towards the back there?
Correct, yes. Once again on a pulse proportionate thermostat.
Yep. So that temperature zone isn't a constant super hot, it's moving up and down to get a bit of variation there.
Yep. And look, you need to keep them a bit warmer in that first year of life. But as they do grow and get over that first year of life, sort of dropping the temps back a little bit as well. Feeding response is directly linked to temperature.
Yep.
and also immunity. So just providing them the best start as they're starting out.
So another contentious topic, I guess, for baby chondros is food, like sizing of food,
Yep.
and I guess frequency of feeding is the other big ones.
Yep.
So what are the advice that we could give to people listening that are going to get into baby chondros?
Yep.
And hopefully the whole idea of this is that we don't want people to make mistakes. We want people to have success here. So
It's like anyone and anything, a good source of food. So, you know, buying from someone that's whether they're a professional company or a backyard breeder, rodents that are hydrated and quite fresh. We don't want to be feeding freezer burned animals. I typically feed young animals every 5 to 7 days in their first sort of 3 to 4 months of life, and then start winding it out to 7 to 10 as they sort of, you know, move through from, you know, 12 months to 18 months. The last thing you want is fat animals. In the chondro keeping side of things, you know, going back 10, 15 years into a darker period, I suppose,
yeah.
you know, worldwide, where people were overfeeding animals. We had a lot of obese animals, and that will reduce things like, you know, fecundity, their ability to breed and produce, you know, healthy and viable clutches. So, you know, there's some thought on, you know, that also producing animals that, you know, potentially would be more inclined to prolapse or, you know, not deal with the, you know, I suppose the rigours of captivity. So, you know, stuck sheds, etc. So, you know, it's more than just one picture. It's more than just keeping them in a good environment with the right husbandry skills and techniques. You know, you need to have a well-rounded approach when it comes to keeping chondros.
And I guess the other thing, just by looking at this tub, I mean, there's probably going to be a few people out there going to be a little bit judgy right now, but
Yep.
the reality is baby chondros don't climb trees, right? This is
No,
the
they
problem.
live pretty much about a metre off the ground. They live in the leaf litter where their camouflage is best suited, and they primarily feed off diurnal skinks. So
Yeah.
they don't need to be you know, high up off the ground. There is some, you know, and I would even agree with this, there is some argument that they could probably do with some more vertical, you know, aspects to climb. But, you know, in my experience, you know, close to coming up to 2 decades of keeping chondros and, you know, well over 10 years of breeding chondros, I've never ever found that this has been detrimental to their health. So, further to that, taking it a step further, the size of the tub, you know, if I were to go down to a bigger tub like this 27 litre tub down here, and start, you know, keeping them in a tub that size, they would not feed.
Yep.
So they need that tight sort of, I suppose, niche little spot to live in, because they do occupy you know, a certain niche within their, you know, very particular environment. So they need that, I suppose, comfort that smaller tub provides, and that's what allows them to feed and do well.
Now, the fact that all these other guys have got multiple perches, I mean, there was a contentious subject around for a while there where diamond pythons were typically a little bit floppy on the hand because people were keeping them in, you know, low profile tubs. They're an arboreal species of animal.
Yep.
They need to climb and stretch and,
Yep.
and more importantly, build up some strength in their
Yep.
stomach muscles. I mean, that's why we do ab crunches, right? Build
Exactly,
up our
that's
core muscles, right?
Do them every day.
Yep, some more than others. But you can see just the way these guys are sitting, you know, they're sitting exactly the way they should sit. They're perched up there how they normally perch in nature.
Yep.
So it's very important that we sort of replicate the conditions where they can carry on and act more natural than not.
Yep. And the right size perch. You know.
And that's to do.
Yep.
And the other thing with the chondros, I guess, is that exact thing. It's now a diameter issue too,
Yep.
isn't it? The
Yep.
right diameter for the perching.
And these cages are pretty old. Like these, my original melamine cages, they're well over a decade old. You know, they're 15 plus years old. They're still holding out, but those perches, you know, from what we're learning now, are probably even a bit too big, and something that I'll be looking at changing when I upgrade my caging. You know, I could even go back down to this size. In the wild, when you look at them, they tend to be utilising perches that, you know, are about I suppose the diameter of the base of their tail, just around the cloaca. So
Wow.
they don't really need a big perch.
Wow. And I guess one of the other key factors is for reptile keepers, and this goes across the board, every reptile keeper all across the world, they don't realise they have the most amazing tools available to them. It's called your eyes. If you're not watching, observing, taking note of what your animal's doing, you're going to miss so much. And I mean, I've always said it, the animals are telling you what they want. It's up to you to watch and try and work out exactly what they need
Couldn't
and
agree
give
more.
it back to
That
them.
is it's something I say to everyone that I encounter and I can provide information to. If you're not picking up on the cues that your animals are giving you, you may as well not be doing it. Like if you're in it for, as both you and Dingo have said over this weekend, if you're in it for money, fame, ego, whatever it might be, you're in it for the wrong reason. I do this because I love this species and I solely specialise in this. There's lots of other reptiles I love, but I love watching these guys, and a lot of people say they don't do much, and during the day they don't, but at night it is a totally different story in here. Like, it's nothing better than sitting here at twilight with a beer and just watching them all get around and do their thing.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, James, for having me here today. It's been
Thanks.
absolutely spectacular. I'll tell you what, like I said before, you've got some absolutely stunning animals. I hope you guys enjoyed today's show. Make sure you hit me up on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, and don't forget to check me out on TikTok. And make sure you leave a comment below and like this show. Thanks for watching CrittaCam.